Hi everybody, welcome to the family painting night. Today we are going to be painting a beach scene. There's a palm tree, some surfboards, and a van on the beach with the ocean in the sky. So this is what it's going to look like when it's done. I'm only going to show you how to paint parts of it, otherwise it'd be way too long of a video. So let me move these out of the way. So everybody's got their two canvases that are traced. I only traced the surfboards and the van. I did not trace the tree or where the beach and the sky and that is. So first thing you're going to do is you are going to want to paint your sky. So I have white paint. Which brush I'm going to use? So what I'm going to do is I'm going to put some white on my plate. And I'm going to add a little bit of blue to it. You want it fairly light in color. Don't worry about mixing it up like perfectly. So make sure your two canvases are side to side, lined up, because you're going to go across both of them. I think what I'm going to do is I'm going to start off by kind of making a line. Not going to be straight, but it's up to you how high you want it. If you want more water in yours, if you want more sky in your painting, it's up to you. But make sure as you're going along, you paint when there's the big background like this for the water, for the ocean, and for the beach part. You want to make sure you put your canvases side by side so you can paint between the two and they'll match each other. So if you paint them individually and then have to match them up after, they're not going to match. So start off at least side by side. And mine aren't going to be too straight because I don't really have the room to work right here and move them around. But after you get them at least side by side, you can go back and then you can finish the rest of that half. But you want to make sure the two halves match up in the middle where you're joining them. So go like that and go ahead and do your entire sky. It looks better if you have some streaks of white and blue in it. So if it's too mixed together, go back with a tiny bit of blue on the end of your brush. And you could put a little bit in. So you can just kind of streak it in the sky like that real quick. And then if it's too dark, you could just go over it a little bit more and blend it in. But you want to do that with both sides of your sky. And don't forget to start out with them together so the middle sections where they join match each other. So I'm going to quick do this. Okay, we're going to pretend like my sky is completely done. So then the next part you're going to do is you're going to do the same thing with the ocean, with the water, okay? So what I'm going to do, wait a second, is I'm going to take my sky color that I made and I'm going to add a lot more blue into it. You could also just start with the blue and add some white to it. But since I already have this made, I'm just going to go ahead and add a bunch of blue into it. Because obviously you want your sky a lot lighter than what you want your ocean to be. And the same thing, don't mix it up really, really good. You want it more streaky. Okay. So then you're going to do the same thing, and you're going to keep them side by side at the beginning, and you're going to paint on both of them at the same time. You're going to want to stop probably about there. It doesn't have to be smooth because it's the beach, and beach is not necessarily smooth. You can paint up and down like this when you're going around stuff, but then after you get it painted in, go back and go side to side, because your water doesn't go this direction. Your water would look better this direction. So go ahead and then do the same thing. Keep them together at the beginning and paint the ocean, the water, and then go back and you're going to want to paint the rest of the canvases where the ocean is. You might want to start across the horizon line where your water and your ocean, the water and your sky meet, and try to make as straight of a line as you can. You can even use a ruler. Put a ruler up there and go across. Just wipe the paint off your ruler afterward. So if you just kind of make a line there, make it as straight as you can, then you know where you're stopping at the top. You can also go ahead and make a line at the bottom, but you don't want it to be necessarily all straight, because that's where the beach is and it doesn't have to be straight. On this one, I would do it more straight just because it's easier because of the van. So I would just go across. And you can even use a ruler just to make sure you get it across straight. Go like that. So then when you're done with the two joined together, just do the individual canvases. And just go ahead and paint the rest of the water with your darker blue. Same thing at the top. Make sure you don't get the blue into your van, because most of the van is going to be white, and if you get the blue in there, you'll definitely see it. So after you get them together, like I said, just go back through, paint both of the water parts of each of your canvases. Oops, over there. Take your time, do it as neat as you can. You don't have to hurry like I am. I'm only going to do part of this because I want to show you what to do with part of it. Okay, we're just going to pretend like that part's painted all the way. And we're going to pretend like this part's painted all the way. Okay. So we're pretending like my water is painted all the way. So what you're going to do once your water is painted on both of them. And remember, stop the video, pause it in between to catch up. You don't have to keep going at the same pace I am. I'm just doing it so I could show you guys without having a super long video. Just showing you the key points you need to make. Okay, let me just quick do this just so I can show you. Okay, so we're going to pretend like the whole ocean is painted. So once your whole ocean is painted, what I would do is I would go back with a little white paint. And you don't want a whole bunch of white paint. But you want to take just a little bit, kind of lightly, not a whole bunch. So don't put a big glob on the end of your brush. But you want to make some waves in your water then. Let me show you my other one. Okay, see how I made waves? That's what you want to do. You want to go through and you may want to make some white lines and stuff for waves, but you want to do it when they're joined together because my waves went from one canvas to the other. So just kind of like that. And then do some off to the side as well. Get more white. Just kind of do them all over. You don't have to have a whole bunch, but you want to have some on your canvas. So just go through your whole ocean and just do that. But make sure you do some where they're on both canvases in the middle. So that's why you put your canvas back together. So just do it that way. So it kind of covers both of them. So that way really you could tell that they're joined together and that they go together. But if they were separate, they're fine also. All right, so after that part, after all of your ocean is done, you have your waves on, then you want to work on your individual canvases, whichever. You're not going to do the beach yet, so don't worry about the beach part yet. But you do want to work on your individual canvases, so if one of you want to work on one, and one of you want to work on the other, the hardest one I would say is definitely going to be the van. So it's up to you who wants to do the van, or maybe both of you want to do part of it. You can work on it together. It's up to you. What I would do though for the van, I'm just going to show you the individual steps here. For the aqua part of the van, what I did was, and I'm just going to, no, I'm not going to do it in the cup because it's too much. I'm going to take some of the aqua. And I use this color because of the van is a retro van, and this is a retro color, and this is what they showed it in, and I thought it was perfect color for it. So just take some of the aqua, take some white, and I forgot to tell you what I was going to tell you to do, and that is to paint the van. Paint your van white before you go on to the aqua parts. So now go ahead and paint all of the parts by the sample. Go by the sample picture of it, and any of the parts that are white, which is just your main body, your mirrors, make those, and then where your license plate is, just go ahead and paint all of those real quick in white. You don't have to worry about if you go over the lines into the other parts because they're not going to show. But just go ahead and give everything a quick layer of white that's going to be white and let it dry before you go on to the next parts. That way it's easier. You won't have to go back later and try to cover it up. So it'll be much easier to do it if you just paint it all in white first. And then once you've painted all in white, then you can go back and you do the other parts. So this part is the aqua color. So you want to just go and you want to paint this. Use whatever size brush you have that'll work the best. I forgot to finish mixing it. It's too dark if you just use the straight color. So I would definitely mix it with the white. And try to be careful when you're going around the headlights. I may have told you different order to paint it on the sheet I gave you, but some of it doesn't really matter. I think actually I told you to do the fender first. Okay, so just go ahead and paint the aqua on both sides. Okay. All right, I'm just going to paint the one side just to show you how to do it. And then what we're going to do is we're going to pretend like both sides are done. And we're going to go ahead and we're going to take some white. And we are actually, I'm just going to use it in the cup here. I don't have much left anyway. I'm going to mix a tiny bit of black and I'm going to make a light gray. It's got a little aqua in it too, but that's okay. Anyway, I'm going to make a light gray and I am going to do the fender. The fender part is a lighter gray and then the bumper is a little bit darker. So those are the bumpers. So go ahead and paint this the light gray. Be careful of the license plate part because that you want to keep in white. But go ahead and paint the gray for the fender. Okay. All right. And then it's too windy today and my stuff's trying to blow away here. All right. So once you get your fender done, you could go ahead and you could add more black to it. And you can make a darker gray. And you can then paint. Yeah, it needs to be darker. Make sure it's a darker gray before you finish up there, just so it shows better. All right, that's a little bit better. So go ahead and paint your fenders, your bumpers in the darker gray. All right, you also want to paint your windows in the slightly darker gray. Actually, kind of a combination of the two, so whichever one is fine. But you definitely want them to show up. You do them too light, they won't show up with your background with the white van. So you want to make sure it shows up. So go ahead and paint that. Might be a little too dark for the windows, but just use your better judgment and you decide what color you want yours to be. You don't want them black, but you don't want them so pale that you can't see them either, so just find a nice color that you like and you're happy with. All that matters. Okay. Let me hurry up and finish this part. All right, you're not going to do the tires till towards the end. It's one of the last things to do because once you get your beach in and everything, you want to do all that. Okay, so on this one, I did both windshields either wrong. We did the aqua on one side, but that's okay. So now, if your aqua part is dry, where your headlights are going to be, go ahead and paint those in with yellow. Your headlights are going to be yellow. And try not to go, make sure your aqua is dry, because if you go over the lines like I just did, picked up a little bit of the aqua, and now it's going to look a little green. So make sure your aqua is dry. Make sure you use a small enough brush that you can do that. This one's a little bit big for that. So go ahead and paint those yellow then. And also going to show you with the little car symbol. I probably am not supposed to say it, so I won't say it. But you want to take your aqua color and you want to outline it in this. So go ahead and just cover it up with the aqua. Just trace it with the skinniest brush you have. There we go. Okay. All right. So that's kind of this one for now. When it's dry, you're also going to take a skinny brush, and it doesn't really matter when you do this part, so if you want to do it now you can, but you're going to want to take a skinny brush and you want to outline your windows. It's going to not be too good. I just want to show you how to do it, but I'm a little holding it too far back because it's wet. I don't want to put my arm down on anything. So go ahead and whenever you want, go ahead and outline your windows like that with the black. And you also want to make a skinny line for the windshield wiper. So you just kind of want to go across and have a little bit of a line. Let me do this with you. And I think I just put my arm down. No, it's okay. So you just kind of want to make a line across for the windshield wipers to make it look like it has windshield wipers. All right, so that is kind of it right now for this one. So I'm going to switch back to the other one, and I am going to show you what to do on this one then. Okay, so for this one is the easier one, and it's less small detailed parts. So you have 3 surfboards. You could do the surfboards in the colors that you choose, but these were the colors that I copied from when I found this picture this is what I did them in. So everybody doesn't have the same color here. It's a purpley color, but I have different purples, and I had some I was trying to use up. So there's 3 different color purples you might have in your bag. So it doesn't really matter if it's not exact. And if you choose to do your surfboards in another color even, go ahead. It's up to you what you want your surfboards to look like. So I'm going to do my middle one here was yellow. When you paint the surfboard, I would paint up and down because your paint lines will look better that way. And I didn't make an exact ending. I didn't make a line across the bottom, so just kind of end about where the lines end, because we want, when we go and put the sand part, the beach part of it in, we don't want it to be like smooth anyway. We want it kind of built up a little, which is why I want to get some of these painted in to show you what to do. Okay, everything's sliding here a little bit. Okay, so we got one that is yellow. I've got one I'm going to do red. And if you want, you can go ahead and put patterns on them. You can use the patterns like I have shown, or you could just do your own patterns. Or if you just want them solid, you could do that. It's really up to you. They're your surfboards. Like I said, if you want to use a different color, and you have some leftover paint of other colors, go right ahead. But just make sure your surfboards are covered up. And try not to go over the lines the best you can. Okay, now I'm trying to hurry here so I can show you the next steps. All right, so that's it for the red one. And I'm just gonna do a quick purple one and not put a stripe in it just because I want to show you what to do. Like I said, everybody's got a different shade of purple. There's 3 different shades out there. It's fine. If you don't want to do purple, you don't have to. Just make sure you do something that's going to show up. That's basically all it is. Just pick something for a color that looks good. And if you want to be really fancy and make a lot of pattern on yours, you could do that too. Okay, so when you're done with your surfboards, what I would recommend doing is, whether you put a pattern on it or not, I would recommend brushing a little bit of white paint on it, because what it'll do, it'll look like the sun shining on it and it'll look better. So you could just take a little bit of white paint, not a whole bunch, just a little bit, and you could just kind of, see, just kind of like that on it. You're just kind of brushing a little on just to make it look like, you know, the sun's reflecting off of it. Just a little bit. Doesn't have to be real dark or anything. Do it after yours are dry though. All right. And I didn't do what I should have done. Okay, now I'm gonna quick do, something real quick just to show you. I'm gonna hurry up and add part of the ocean on this side because I have to show you what to do shortly. Where the tree goes. Okay. We're gonna act like my ocean is all the way over there done. Okay. So now when you get your surfboards done, your van done, get some of these out of the way. Oops, we're gonna need that. We're gonna need that. We're gonna need some brown, and we're gonna need some white. We are going to make our beach. Let me clean this mess up a little bit. Still need that color. Okay, so let me make some room. Put both of them side by side again. All right. Come on. Tell you, when you do 2 canvases, you really need the space. Okay, so I'm going to put my canvases side by side, and I am going to make my beach color. So I'm going to take my flat brush that's smaller, get this cleaned off with all this blue and stuff on it. Get a different. All right, so what I'm going to do is I am going to take some white. And I'm going to take a little bit of yellow. Now this you really have to experiment to get the right color. You want to start out with a little bit of these other colors at a time, because if you add too much at one time, you'll end up with a dark mess. So add a little bit of white to yellow, a little bit of yellow to your white, and now add some brown. Ooh, this is a bad brown. Mine is really dried up. I don't have another one handy. Okay, so you're gonna just mix a little bit of brown to your yellow and your white till you get a beachy color. It's up to you to just kind of judge when you think it is beachy looking. This is what my past one looked like. And what I did is go by this color, because what I did is after I painted it this color, I went back with the brown and I added a little bit of shading in to look at more natural. So once you find a color you like for your beach, go ahead and paint. Start with them together again and go ahead and paint excuse me, side by side. And go ahead and paint your beach. Start out with them side by side so they match. And then paint the individual canvases. This part is going to be the beach also, and then this part is going to be the beach. So just go ahead and finish those. I am going to move over to this one because this is the one that matters the most. This one is going to have, move this. Okay, this one, I'm going to go ahead and cover. The other one's kind of straightforward. You just to do the beach, and it just kind of goes straight, and it goes between the wheels, and it goes on the other side. So it's nothing fancy about this, about the other one. This is the trickier one, because this one we've got kind of ups and downs. And the same thing like with the ocean and with the water, paint side to side. If you go down like this at the beginning to outline it, but then go back and go across like that. I got a big lump there. I gotta see if I can get off. Okay, so just go side to side and just kind of make a lump over it like that, so it's not perfectly smooth. And then just go ahead and finish like that. This could have probably used even to be a little bit lighter. Maybe a little bit more yellow would have worked. Kind of looks almost like chocolate. Like I said, it's just kind of experimenting till you find the right color. And then when you go around the surfboards, make them so they're not all straight at the bottom. See, this one has a little bit of curve. This one's got a little bit of curve. This one I'm going to do this way instead. See, like that. So it looks like it's actually sitting in the sand, not just sitting right on the sand. So go ahead and do your beach, both of them. When you are done with your beach, paint everywhere. All right, a minute. My handles. I have too much paint all over my handles. Okay. And when you do that, you end up with paint all over your hands. All right, there we go. So when your paint for your beach is dry, what I would recommend doing is taking a little solid brown paint. I'm almost done getting the paint off of my hands. Okay, most of it's off. Okay, so after you're done with the beach, what you want to do is you want to take, I'm going to take a flat brush, and what I'm going to do is take a little bit of just the plain brown, and I'm going to, it works better if you wait till it dries, because otherwise I'm just going to kind of push the paint around. But just kind of like dab it here and there to kind of shadow it a little bit. You don't want your beach looking perfectly the same. And also, you don't want it all be one solid color. You want different variations. You also want to do it where the two are joined together, just like you did with the waves in the water. But you want to keep it, kind of keep it light. If you go over too much, just go back with some of the lighter to try to cover it up. And just kind of add a little here and there. Works if you just put a little bit of brown on your brush at a time, so you don't have a big glob of it. Okay, so just kind of do that all over. Just make a little, just so there's some variation in color. It looks better if you just kind of blot it on than trying to paint it on. But let me show you the original ones. See, this is how I did it with the original one. Then if I had too much brown, I just went back over it once it dried with the lighter color a little bit, just to lighten it up a little bit. So that's on this one. All right, the next step we are going to do is going to be your tree. So I'm going to get rid of the canvas for the van one out of the way, and we're just going to work on this one. Okay, 1 second.